Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kate. Sorry in advance, my voice is a little weird this morning. I've got kind of a cold or whatever coming on, that time of year. Right off the bat, speaking of having a bad voice, I completely understand if you don't want to listen to my voiceover and you'd rather just pop on a cool podcast or Spotify playlist. I do have a couple recommendations in the description. My Spotify playlist is just kind of a mess, but if you like a variety of music, it might be interesting to you. And as for podcasts, I'm going to be pushing the Adventure Zone again because I love the Adventure Zone. I'm not caught up yet. I know it's been out for a long time, but it's just always a safe bet. So those are going to be in the description. You can always just put me on mute, turn those on, or whatever other audio source you'd like, or just listen to it silently. But yeah, so those will be in the description. I did listen to the Adventure Zone extensively when I was painting this, so even though, well, we'll get into the politics of that in just a second. I wanted to start off by saying one of my favorite things about this painting process was my camera setup. I think I finally am starting to figure out a decent way to film painting videos. There's a couple different angles, so hopefully that's not confusing. I didn't really know what it would look like at the end after I've sped everything up, so we'll see how that all goes. I think it'll work out. I like that my face isn't in here anymore. I like that you can actually see what I'm painting most of the time. Sometimes my hand is covering it. But yeah, I tried to use a bunch of different angles and setups because I just didn't know what they would look like. I guess I could have done the test painting and stuff, but this one, I wasn't really stressed out about it anyway, so doing like a test painting to figure out the camera angles seemed kind of silly. In retrospect, probably would have been valuable. Oh well. But I will obviously use what I learned from this video going forward, so hopefully in the future, near future, there'll be some pretty neat videos coming out. But yeah, so kind of going to the politics of this painting as I was talking about. It's not really political, but the subject is Thistle from one of my favorite webcomics ever, Daughter of the Lilies, which is this fantasy adventure story with this awesome cast, and they just did this huge design reveal for the main, I think she's the main character, Thistle. And I haven't been with the comic since the beginning, but I've been reading it for at least a year, maybe a year and a half, and I am so happy with the direction that Meg went with Thistle's design. I think she's adorable, precious, just really excited about the comic going forward, knowing what the deal is with Thistle. She is a cave elf, so I've been kind of interpreting that, and I think this is, well, actually no, I know, I've seen a post on Tumblr by the creator that includes a bat. So yeah, she's like a bat elf. She's got a cute little bat nose, kind of, and like big, like elf-like bat ears. It's really cool, really creative choice. And she's got pointy teeth that I didn't include, but I wish I had because I just think it adds to the whole design. So anyway, really great webcomic. I'll have a link in the description. Sorry that if this is your first exposure to the webcomic that you're getting spoilers right off the bat, but otherwise you wouldn't have known about it at all. So, I think this first part of the painting is my favorite with the thistle flowers. I didn't even know that there were so many different kinds of thistles out there until I did a Google image search for references, and I was like, holy buckets. So the thistles that I drew probably don't have any relation to real thistles, but they were really fun. I really like the colors. It's actually kind of, the colors are a new thing that I'm trying, which a lot of people are going to laugh at me when I say this, but I never use colors out of the tube for paints. I usually only start with black and white and then red, yellow, blue, and mix all my colors from there, which is kind of silly. I mean, definitely time and a place for it, but I'm not that good at mixing colors, so my colors are never quite vibrant enough, and I usually waste a lot of paint because it takes me a ton of paint to get the right color. And I had this idea in my head that it was like cheating and that it would bring down the overall significance of my painting, but I think that's just not really true. I mean, I love how vibrant the colors are. I love that going forward I can use similar colors on a different painting and they'll look good together. There'll be a lot of, coordination across multiple paintings, which would just be really hard to do from mixing colors from scratch when I'm not that good at it, because getting the exact color to come out again is just very difficult for me. So doing this, I get more vibrant colors, I have more control over my color palette, and there's a lot less waste, which all of those I think are very good things. So now we're kind of getting into the very first part of painting Thistle herself. And I'm going to say right off the bat that it didn't really end up the way I wanted it to. There were just kind of some basic things at the beginning that I didn't address or didn't think through that I should have. But that's okay. It was I really haven't done that many acrylic portraits, so it was still a good exercise. I'm definitely going to do a lot more, just kind of practice like acrylic sketches before I go into my next portrait, because this one was really frustrating. But I think looking at it right now, I can see that the ear I should have worked on a little bit more. Looked at my references, actually got the proportions figured out, and I tweak it a little bit and it gets a little bit better, but just isn't true to her design by the end of it. And the proportions of like the neck and the head and stuff, I kind of go back and forth on it being in and out of proportion, and it ends up where I made the head giant somehow. Like, I think because of the hair and the eyes and the way that I placed the facial features just really got out of control. So I want to be a lot more mindful of that going forward. I think it'd be good to just work on the kind of base level sketch a little bit more. So that's good to know. I'm glad that I have kind of an idea of how I can fix it going forward, but still frustrating. I'm also a little frustrated because I really liked how the dress, oh, I'm going to interrupt myself real quick. There's this part in the video where I filmed myself changing the water, and I just wanted to explain why I left one water jar dirty, because I think it's kind of a good tip if anyone is interested. I like having the dirty water available when I'm making a new palette, because I had left my palette out to dry like a clown, and when you have that dirty water, it still has a lot of pigment in it, and it kind of brings together the colors in the same way that you were using them before. So it's just kind of a cheat, not like a cheating move, but like a shortcut to getting your palette back to the way that it was before you clowned around and let it dry out, or used all your paint responsibly. Either way, there's probably some things wrong with that, but I haven't had any problems with it yet. I completely forgot what I was talking about before this. I could like pause and rewind and figure it out, but it probably wasn't that interesting. Well, anyway, the face is, if you've seen my Persephone face video, it's going to be a lot less painful than that, but still similar. I can see so many times when it was like perfect that I should have just stopped, but I had to tweak one more thing and it messed up all the colors and I had to go and paint over the whole thing again, and then the rest of it got messed up. But that's a learning experience. I used to have a mindset of the more layers the better when painting faces, because I do really like the texture of the paint and the way that it comes through when you have a lot of layers, but it was really just an excuse for me not knowing what I was doing and just kind of fumbling around and guessing and wasting paint until I figured it out. So I've been trying to watch more YouTube videos of other people who actually paint really, really well and trying to take pointers from them. And that is really humbling, but also really exciting because it just gives me a nice direction going forward. Going back to the painting, I had a lot of fun with this, I think it's quinacridone rose tube. Let me see. Yeah, it's quinacridone magenta. So all of the paint that I used, or almost all of the paint that I used, was Liquitex Basics acrylic paint, and I have a ton, not like a ton, but I have a lot of little tubes. I think there's 48 colors that I got when I was in high school, because that was when I was really into painting. And shortly after I got them, I adopted this no tube color rule, a weird rule. And so I've just had them, and some of them are getting kind of weird. The textures are getting like either really clumpy or really soupy, but they're still, I mean, I think they're decent paints. I'm sure a lot of really good painters would just throw up hearing that I like the Liquitex Basics, but I'm not that sophisticated. I can't really tell the difference yet. Maybe it's because I don't have any nice paints to compare them to. I usually go for quantity over quality because I waste so much paint. So I'm excited going forward, wasting less paint, being able to buy the nice stuff, and seeing if it makes a difference. I'll try to make a video on that. That'd be kind of cool, because personally, I'm not looking to waste paint if I can avoid it. I think I skipped a couple steps in recording on accident, but sorry about that. Oh, but anyway, what I was saying about this paint, this quinacridone magenta, is it was a really, really pretty addition to Thistle's skin palette. I had so much fun with that. I think that the overall values weren't as strong as I would have liked. I'm not really sure what I could have done to change that, because I tried a lot of things and it didn't work. But I really am happy with the magenta undertones. I think that was a really good call. Oh, and here's where I mess up the dress. I'm going to go with the dress because there's a lot of hype over Thistle wearing dresses, but I was really happy with how it was originally, and then not really happy with how it was when I repainted it, but that's fine. Also, her hairstyle, I like the way that the author draws it, but it's really hard to nail down. And I think that that's why her head ended up being so big, plus I made her eyes too big. But she has these big, huge eyes in the comic, and I was like, oh, I have to draw her with big, huge eyes. And it kind of looks creepy, but what are you gonna do? I don't know, paint it right, Kate? No. Um, but anyway, the actual painting, maybe it's just the lighting in my apartment, but it's really hard to see the details in the face as strongly as they show in this recording. So I'm glad that the light for the recording worked out so that you could actually see things. I was worried that it would just be kind of like a brown blur, but not the case. All right, and I think this is the end where I'm ripping off the tape. It wasn't a perfect tape removal process, and it never is, but it's still like the most satisfying part of the painting is getting the border off of it. And I think that's about all I have. Thanks for listening or choosing to listen to something else if that's what gets you through the video. Hopefully I will have more videos out soon. Yeah, if you have any requests for characters, definitely feel free to leave a comment. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Thank you.